Dear students, in this video we'll be discussing about the pilot plant design for tablets. In the last video we had discussed about the pilot plant in general. Let us review the definition of pilot plant. The pilot plant in fact is the intermediate scale production facility available in a company, and it is used for assessing the formula that was designed in the R&D. So let us see this small flow chart indicating the place of pilot plant in between R&D and production. So this place is related to the scale of production. In fact, R&D, where the laboratory scale formula development is carried out, and in the pilot plant the formula development is carried out at the intermediate scale. Once the formula is evaluated and validated perfectly in the pilot plant, then it is taken in the production. So at the large scale the production may be carried out on the basis of the formula that has been developed in the pilot plant. So it is in fact the scale up study. The scale up is defined as the art of designing of prototype using the data obtained from the pilot plant model. So let us move to the next slide. Pilot plant design for tablets. Tablets is such an important dosage form, and the facility of manufacturing of the tablet dosage form is available in every industry. There are number of products in the form of tablets, and every industry would like to have the detailed facility for manufacturing of the tablets. So frequently the tablet formulations are coming up for the development, and frequently the scale up studies are required to be carried out. So in the pilot plant setup there has to be the facilities meant for the tablet manufacturing in the pilot plant. The primary responsibility of the pilot plant staff is to ensure that the newly formulated tablets developed by production development personnel will prove to be efficiently, economically and consistently reproducible on a production scale. It is a must that the tablet formulation which has been developed in the pilot plant will be able to give the efficient and economical and consistently reproducible formula at the production scale. The design and construction of the pilot plant for tablet development should incorporate features necessary to facilitate maintenance and cleanliness. This is the basic requirement of any kind of plant. But basically the tablet plant, which includes the handling of number of powdered materials, and obviously those powder materials are likely to contaminate the other processing products in the plant, and therefore the facility must be provided for the maintenance and cleanliness in the plant. If possible, it should be located on the ground floor to expedite the delivery and shipment of the supplies. This is very important in case of the tablets. See, the tablet is a kind of formulation which needs to be frequently developed in the pilot plant. Number of new tablet products are under process of the development, and therefore the pilot plant tablet facility, which requires several materials for the trial and error studies. And for this purpose, the pilot plant setup must be at the ground floor so that the materials can be received in the plant, and they can be there will be no problem for lifting the materials to the other floors. Moreover, the extraneous and microbiological contamination must be guarded. So this is uh, the basic requirement. Those pharmaceutical materials, it may be the active ingredient or the excipients, they are they must be in the purest state, and there should be no chances for extraneous matter to contaminate these pure materials. Moreover, there should not also be the access to the viable particles that will cause the microbiological contamination of the product. So this is the precaution one. This is the precaution it must be taken in the design of pilot plant. Apart from this, there are several features which are important from the pilot plant design point of view. Number one, fluorescent lighting fixtures. They should be ceiling flush type. The various operating areas should have floor drains to simplify cleaning. The floor drains should be properly made so that the cleaning will be easy. The area should be air conditioned and humidity controlled. Since the process of development of the formula or the trials on the formula, they are continuously carried out, and it involves the number of personnel, and it is necessary for those personnel to have the comfort while working, but at the same time the materials that are being handled, they will require the specific humidity, and thus the area should have the proper humidity control also. The flooring of the pilot plant, which requires a specific attention, high density concrete floors should be installed. Since there are machineries and they are heavy weight machineries, so the floor must be of the high density concrete so that it will be able to withstand the vibrations and the weight of the machineries. Then the walls in the processing and packaging areas should be enamel cement finish on concrete. This is important because the materials that are being used for making of the tablets, most of them are having the fine powders, so there are chances for the dust generation, and if we keep the finish of the wall having a rough texture, so it has the potential to catch the dust, and once the dust is there, so it is likely to contaminate the next product or another product which is being processed in the same plant at the other time. So the finish of the wall should be such that it does not attract the dust or it does not hold the dust, and that's why the processing and packaging area should be enamel cement finish on concrete. The next point is the equipment in the pharmaceutical pilot plant should be similar to that used by production division or the manufacturing of tablets. So in the industry, the tablet manufacturing facility is available, and in that set up plant there are number of machineries available. So with a specific industry, the specific kind of equipments in the manufacturing facilities are available. So if in that case, when we have to design the pilot plant for the tablets, so we must take into consideration what kind of equipments or machineries that are available in the large manufacturing area, and with that point in the mind, the design of the pilot plant has to be made while deciding on the selection of the pilot plant equipments. Then comes the material handling system. Well, in the laboratory, when we are developing the formula, the materials are being used in the very small quantity, and with the help of spatula we handle the material. We pour the material from its container to the processing vessel. But when this process is supposed to be carried out at intermediate scale as well as the large scale, then one has to think about the material handling system. Moreover, if the same system is used for transfer of materials from for more than one product, then the steps must be taken to prevent cross contamination. So in this situation, it is always advisable to have the material handling system dedicated, or it should be a closed one, so that there will be no scope for the cross contamination. Then any material handling system must deliver the accurate amount of ingredient to the destination. If we think about the large scale operations, the destination is where the material means the port where from the material is loaded or charged in the processing tank or processing vessel. So at this point, the large quantity of material is supposed to be delivered. For this system, we have to develop the material handling system. Well, in the pilot plant, when the trials are being carried out, so this kind of problems we face, and then we can decide upon that what kind of material handling system should be there, so that there will be uninterrupted delivery of the material at the point where actually the material is loaded in the processing tank or in the processing machinery. Now, the next point is the type of system selected also depends on the characteristics of the material. Well, the material handling system, there are different kinds of the material handling system, and the type of that system, it depends that what kind of material, what different characteristics of the materials that we are handling, and accordingly the system selection is supposed to be made. More sophisticated methods of handling materials such as vacuum loading systems, metering pumps, and screw fed system. Well, these are the different systems available for material handling, but one should think about the cost of the operation. It depends that what kind of material that we need to handle. If the material is very expensive, if it is an active ingredient, and its proper handling without loss when it is required, Then we have to switch over to a more sophisticated method of handling the materials, such as the vacuum loading system. Then the metering pumps, screw feed system. These are the dedicated systems for the material transfer from one place to another. Sometimes the lifting is required to a certain height when the processing vessel is having the height 10 feet or 15 feet, like that. So at such times we require the lifting kind of material handling system, and the screw feed system will be very suitable. It can provide the horizontal movement of the material or the vertical lifting of the material. Next point in the tablet pilot plant design, which is to be considered, it is related to the dry blending. Since the number of powders we have to use and we have to blend them together, we have to mix them together in the dry state only, so that a uniform mixture will be obtained. So the powders to be used for encapsulation or to be granulated must be well blended to ensure good drug distribution. Well, the drug, that is the active ingredient, is small in quantity, and along with the drug there are number of excipients which are contributing more in the total bulk of the given mixture. And therefore, for having the uniform distribution, the powders must be well blended, the mixture must be well blended, because the inadequate blending at this stage could result in the discrete portion of the batch being either high or low in potency. Potency is related to the active ingredient distribution in the entire bulk, because the total mixture having the small quantity of active ingredient in it, and along with it the large quantity of the excipients. So if there would be improper blending, so the active ingredient will not be distributed well. In some areas it will be found more, in some at the same time it will be found less in some other areas. So this will result into either high or low potency tablets. Then the steps should be taken to ensure that all the ingredients are free of lumps and agglomerates. Well, for the dry blending, it is a must that all the powders should have the similar particle size distribution, and if one of the ingredients, if it is having the lumps or agglomerates, so the care must be taken to ensure that those lumps must be broken and the agglomerate should not be allowed to form. And therefore, the screening or milling of the ingredients usually makes the process more reliable and reproducible. So it is the point which is not focused when that formula is being developed at the laboratory scale. But when we take that formula for development in the pilot plant, then these points we get clear, and then the lumps and the agglomerates whenever we do observe. So as we all know that these lumps or agglomerates are going to pose the problems for the dry blending, and therefore they must be milled or they must be sized, and that's why the screening and milling of ingredients, as such all the ingredients, they are subjected for the processes of screening and milling, so that the dry blending will be effective and perfect. Well, the equipment used for blending, they are V blender, double cone blender, ribbon blender, slant cone blender, bean blender, orbiting screw blenders, vertical and horizontal high intensity mixers. Well, these are the various types of blenders which are meant for mixing the different powder ingredients with each other. Particularly, we are very careful about the active ingredient distribution throughout the bulk. In fact, every ingredient has the functional properties to do, and therefore every ingredient must be thoroughly distributed throughout the bulk of the resulting mixture. And according to the need of the operation, we can have the list of the blender, and the selection can be made as per the requirement of the formulation. Then, with regard to these blenders, there are some scale up considerations. In this topic, we are discussing all the equipments, their functioning, only with regard to the scale up considerations. So, with regard to the blenders, according to this list, we have to consider the scale up points like time of blending, blender loading, and the size of blender. So these are the points, these are the parameters we have to decide, we have to design. In fact, the process design in the pilot plant is carried out just to find out the points where the process evaluation controls can be exercised. For example, the time of blending. So one has to decide that how much time should be allowed for blending so that the blending operation will be almost complete, or it should be 100% complete. If the incomplete blending would be there, definitely the problems will be there in the final product. The blender loading. For the effective mixing in the blenders, the blender loading is also an important point. We are, while designing the process, as we finalize a number of things, and we write down these things in the batch manufacturing formula, and therefore we have to suggest that how much loading in the given blender should be allowed. As we all know, the what capacity of the blender is available in the large scale manufacturing area, and accordingly we have to select that relevant blender in the pilot plant, and we have to also decide upon the blender loading, that how much percentage of the material should be charged in one go, so that the operation will be completed in the shortest duration to give the perfect blending. Then the size of blender. The size of blender which has to be decided upon according to the size of the batch, that at what level, at what scale we have to manufacture, and how much of the granulation material we have to produce. So that's are the factors where on the basis of which we can decide the size of the blender. So these things we can finalize during the trials in pilot plant. Then the granulation is a very important step in the manufacturing of tablets. Basically, we prefer the granulation for some common reasons. These are the common reasons, and let us take the review of all those reasons which are important for the granulation. The first reason is to impart good flow properties to the materials. Well, by converting the fine powders into the granules, we ensure the good flow property, which is essential for the tableting operations when the tablets are being produced using the tablet press. Second point is to increase the apparent density of the powders. There are a number of powders which are having the low bulk density, and such powders, they may impose the problems of the unmixing or segregation during the tableting operations because of the tremendous vibrations on the machines. The apparent density of the powders, it can be increased, or it is increased by granulation. Then to change the particle size distribution. So as we are making the granulations, the particle size distribution can be modified. The given powder before granulation is having the particle size distribution which is not desirable for the blending operations and for the tablet making. In that case, the particle size distribution can be modified by converting the given powders into the granulation. In fact, the mixture of the powders of the active ingredient along with the excipients, so that has to be converted into the granulation so that these reasons will get justified. Uniform dispersion of the active ingredient. Well, as I said, during the vibrations of the tableting machine, without granulation, if the powders are used, so the chances are there for the segregation to take place, and that will result into the ununiform or non-uniform dispersion of the active ingredient. But if that same powder blend is converted into the granules, so we are ensured about the uniform dispersion of the active ingredient. Traditionally, wet granulation has been carried out using the Sigma blade mixer and the heavy duty planetary mixer. So this is the diagram of a tumble mix blender equipped with high speed chopper blades, which is used for the wet granulation. So if this is the kind of equipment available in the large scale plant, so we have to select such a equipment in the pilot plant to carry out the trials of wet granulation. So this is the tumble blender, which by rotating it makes sure that the powders get mixed well, and then the granulating liquid is added through a jet, and the powders become wet, and they get converted into a wet mass, which is further needed to be chopped by using the high speed fine or sharp blades, so that the agglomerates or the granules will be produced, which can be removed after a certain period of time over which the machine has been operated. So let us go to the next slide. So binders. Well, the binder are used in the tablet formulations to make the powders more compressible and to produce the tablets that are more resistant to breakage during handling. So addition of binder is a must as to make the powders more compressible. Otherwise, there are some ingredients which do not have the requisite compressibility, and even though the tablets have been produced if without binder, so those tablets produced may be having the potential for breaking, and that's why we need to use the binders. When we are using the binders at small scale or in the laboratory scale, so there will be no problem as such. But when the large quantity of binders is required in the large scale operations, since the binders are quite viscous, the granulation solution which is made up of binder, and if such a viscous solution has been produced at a large scale, so there will be problem for the transfer of the fluid. There will be difficulty for transferring such a highly viscous fluid, and thus this problem can be overcome by adding the binder in the powder state along with the other dry powders, and this will make the binder liquid to be produced with a low viscosity. So we have divided the total binder into the two fractions. One fraction we are adding with the dry blend powders, and other fraction we are adding in the liquid, so that the liquid binder then can be added having the relatively low viscosity. As such, we are including the total binder but in two parts. So this kind of problem, in fact, if it is not addressed to, so that will create the problem when actual manufacturing at the large scale is being carried out. So in order to prevent such problems, it is very important to carry out the trials in the pilot plant, that is at the intermediate scale, and while carrying out such trials, then we come across with the kinds of problems that we are likely to face in the large scale operations. So this is a very good example of such a problem which can be sorted out when the formulation is tried at the intermediate scale. Otherwise, at the laboratory scale, these kind of problems will not be visible, will not be noticed, and then directly in the large scale manufacturing, all of a sudden these problems will appear and the total operation will be the failure. Then some granulation, when prepared in production sized equipment, take on a dough like consistency and may have to be subdivided to a more granular and porous mass to facilitate drying. Granulation, if we have to use the binder in the binding liquid in the excess quantity, and sometimes the dough like consistency of the mass is produced which is very heavy and it is in a large quantity. So in order to make it more granular and porous, we need to subdivide it so that it will facilitate the drying. Then this can be accomplished by passing the wet mass through an oscillating type granulator with a suitably large screen or a hammer mill with either a suitably large screen or no screen at all. The granulation operation is followed by the drying. We are discussing the number of the different steps which are there in the manufacturing of the tablets. The point of discussing these steps is to notice the different places where the process controls can be made. Moreover, the problems that are not visible at the laboratory scale, so they may be visible at the intermediate scale, so that those problems will be avoided when the actual manufacturing will be carried out at the large scale. So the drying is a very important or critical operation, and it is followed by the granulation step. The granulation, which is wet, and it must be dried well. And for the drying, the most common conventional method of drying is the granulation drying of granulation is to use the circulating hot air oven, which is heated either by the steam or electric coils. Here the important factor to consider as a part of scale up of an oven drying operation are airflow, air temperature, and the depth of granulation on the trays. The trays are loaded with the granulation material, so it depends that how much material is loaded in each tray, that will decide the depth, and the airflow and the air temperature. These are the setting points in the hot air ovens. If the granulation bed is too deep or too dense, the drying process will be inefficient, and if soluble dyes are involved, migration of the dye to the surface of granules is such kind of problems do appear. Well, this is the kind of problem we encounter because there is a non-uniform heating or means improper circulation of the hot air, or improper contact of the hot air with that of the material, because the material is lying there in the form of a thick bed, and the drying air will approach first of all the surface and not the material which is there in the depth, and this causes the improper drying or non-uniform drying. Then the drying times may vary. In the large scale manufacturing, we have to make the process very much reproducible and very much automatic. The drying times at specified temperature and airflow rates must be established for each product and for each particular oven load.